Welcome to episode 4 of the Brothers Compass podcast. My name is Arlin. I'm your host. I'm a veteran of the 75th Ranger Regiment, 3rd Ranger Battalion. And Brothers Compass exists to help you find your way after service. And I'm not talking about finding a job. I'm talking about helping you find you, helping you discover who you are and where you're going in life. And the way we do that is by interviewing other veterans, other special operations guys, figuring out what they went through, hearing their personal story, what has worked for them and what hasn't worked for them. And today we're joined by Sergeant First Class retired Louis Saucedo. Thank you for being here, brother.
Pleasure.
So, man, let's talk about, I know we kind of covered this already, but let's talk about, so you and I met, I don't even remember what year it was, but it had to be, I was already out and contracting. So I think it had to be 2011, 2012-ish. And you and I met at a CrossFit gym in Columbus, Georgia.
We did. We passed by each other randomly when I first got in. We talked about earlier, I was an import. So I was, and we talked about my brother because that's how I know a lot of Rangers from his little portion just because of that, because I knew him. So we were the Sauce brothers. And then when anybody ever talked about the Sauce brothers, it was the fat one or the smart one. I was the fat one. So like,
I never heard that. I always heard big sauce and little sauce. That's what I always heard.
It was specifically fat sauce. In fact, it's funny because that's still how I'm referred to and it's funny, like other people outside of the organizations and stuff like that and be like, you're fat. And I was just like, my brother was smaller. So immediately I'm the fatter one. And then I think when I got the nickname, I was just coming out of Ranger School, which I was like, I think I left Ranger School like $135 and I'd gone in like 175, somewhere around there. And then
right.
Nick Melton picked me up and I palled around with him my first deployment. And so when I'm like palling around with him, he's just like, you got to eat more and lift more. So I gained about probably like 40 pounds in that first deployment because that's all I did was eat.
Oh yeah.
So
man.
so then people were just like, oh, you got fat. And I was just like, nah, man, I just got out of Ranger School. And everything looked good because of
everything was delicious.
Yeah. I was 4 days out of Ranger School when I got down to Bastion. So it was, yeah.
Dude, I was the same, man. When I got to regiment, I think I was a $155, and I had Corporal Wrench. He was like just part of the platoon and one of the other
squads.
I remember
Wrench.
He's Sergeant Major Wrench now.
Wrench. Yeah.
But he would every day at chow. I wasn't even in his squad, but every day at chow, he'd be like, "Landers, where's your gravy?" And he would bring me a bowl of gravy and make me eat it, to put weight on. And so it worked, man. I gained a lot of weight.
Yeah, gained weight. But so I think we knew each other from the CrossFit gym was Minowa, wasn't it?
I don't remember. I cannot remember the name of it. I was trying to think of it earlier, and I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember there was a bunch of Rangers that went there. There was a ton of Rangers.
Yeah. I think, a matter of fact, the blonde-headed guy, I can't think of his name, but the blonde-headed guy that owned it and ran it, he knew Obaho, who is now, he's oh gosh, what is he now? Hang on, I gotta look it up. Obaho is taking first bat, I think, or something.
Oh yeah,
he might even be taking the regiment, but I'll look it up.
Yeah, that's the fun, and it's funny because that's like you're talking about people who take on the regiment were giants. Like Masters was a platoon sergeant during my 4th deployment, and so became Sergeant Major Masters of the 75th Ranger Regiment, and so that's such a weird transition to be like, man, I remember that guy as a platoon sergeant. Like,
yeah, it is wild, man. And that's what I mean. Like thinking back on the specific time period that I was there, and seeing what everyone did with their career and seeing the paths that they took, man, they're absolute phenomenal. Like I knew they were great leaders then,
Yeah.
but just seeing it, like looking back and seeing what they became, like it's just really cool, man, to see.
Yeah.
So dude, tell me a little bit about your path. Like, why did you join the Army and why did you choose the Rangers? And so kind of give me like an overview of your career path.
So, I was a, so I think my story starts kind of where everybody about my generation and my age started was, I was a junior in high school when the towers came down. So big deal. That was, I think that was our Pearl Harbor, where at that point, like, everybody kind of knew that, that was the transition from watching those towers was I was gonna have a life completely different from what like when I was in high school, I had already made my mind up that I was gonna my dad was a Dallas police officer, so I'd already made my mind up that I was gonna go be a cop too. Already had the plan. I was gonna go to community college for just long enough to get me the credits that I needed to go and be a police officer. My dad was gonna pin my badge on me. It was gonna be great. Had this whole plan, and in the matter of what was it, 30 minutes, uh all that changed, everything.
Yeah.
And I write a little bit about it where it's funny because that was our like everything changed for our generation then. For men, for those men, it all changed. We went from doing whatever we were going to do, whether that be police officers, lawyers, doctors, some people it saved. Some people were going to be drug addicts and thieves and end up in jail. But instead, they heard that call. They joined the military, and so that's where my story started. So I got out of high school from Carrollton, Texas, and as soon as I did, started kind of planning what I was going to do. So, kind of like everybody else, I had no clue. I just went in and I was like, I want to go fight. Um, did the whole thing, went to the Marine Corps, kind of wanted a little bit of money. So just, I think the Marines, their biggest thing when I had talked to a recruiter was, oh, hey, like you're like, what can I get? And he's like, well, you're going to be a Marine. And I was like, well, that's great. Sounds fantastic. But what else? And they're like, Marine, you'll be a Marine. And I was just like, and then, okay, I want to go in the infantry. Well, we can't promise that. It's like, you know what? I'll go talk to somebody else. And so it was funny because we talked about my dad being upset about my brother. My dad had wanted me to go to college. Like that's his thing was we were going to go to college. We were going to get degrees. If we were going to join the military, it was going to be after we got to college. I was not good at school, period, whatsoever. I was terrible at it. So what ended up happening is I told him I was going to college. I was actually BSing with the recruiter down the street most of the time. He was just taking me around, and I was just doing stuff with him. So I had joined, and the funny part about it is when I had joined, I told my parents I was in school. Well, I moved all of my stuff, left it in a U-Haul in the driveway, and then because wasn't living at home then, but I brought all my stuff, so they thought I was in college. This was like in the middle of the semester. I had already had a date to go to MEPS, had already got a date to leave. So dropped all my stuff off at you in the parking lot or not the parking lot, the driveway of my parents' house. Called a friend of mine, Antoy, and then we went out that night. And I took bottles of liquor from my parents, saying because I wasn't like old enough to get liquor. And then we went to a strip club, and I stayed there with him all night. Phone going off, like it was the Nokia flip phones at that point. This thing's going off like constant. Why is your stuff here? Where are you? We didn't come back I didn't come back until the next morning. So I walk in. As I'm walking in, my dad's sitting there. He's mad. My mom's also sitting there, and she's like, what is going on? What are you doing? I cut him off, and I was like, I joined the Army and I leave in 6 weeks. At this point, people we're already like the first part of the invasion has just happened. And Afghanistan's rolling on real well at this point too. So we're in two fronts, and we're already starting to get people coming back, we're already getting caskets back.
Right.
So this is now he's like, you're going to die. This is going to, X, Y, and Z. Eventually he came to terms with it, you know, They threw me a great party getting out of there. Get into MEPS, join, and like I said, I signed up for the infantry. That is it. That's the only
Yeah.
thing so same thing. Fort Benning, Georgia, end up there. 30th AG is what I can only describe as a tiny people's fight club. It's like what you would do if you wanted to see toddlers fight each other. Um, and it was legal for the caregivers to watch it. So you get it, you know the stuff. You get into 30th AG, and it's like all sorts of wild things are going on, and you're just
Oh
kind of
yeah.
trying to keep it quiet. So I get into basic training. You have your Ranger platoon at that point in time. Ranger Special Forces guys that had option 40, didn't even know what that was. Had no clue. I didn't even know that existed.
Oh, okay.
So they're going through all their stuff. And we had a drill sergeant. His name was Drill Sergeant Zaremba, and he was a Ranger. I didn't really know much about it other than Black Hawk Down, and I was like, oh, that's cool. But I didn't know anything about that the scroll and tab was something different, that having a tab was different than being scrolled and tabbed. All I knew is that I was going to Iraq at that time. So get in, end up drawing Fort Riley, Kansas, which is rough. Get there, and literally, I think like 2 months later, 2-3 months later, I was on an airplane. PFC Saucedo was on an airplane to Baghdad.
Oh
Get to
wow.
Baghdad. And so I was there during the Six City fights in 2005, where Mahmadiyah, Rustamiyah, Fallujah, like all these cities had just gone nuts, and it was just fight night. So me, 21-year-old kid, is running around with a saw in the middle of Baghdad, just fighting. That's what we did. It's all this stuff's happening. It was pre. What's it called? Pre IED. Like the IEDs weren't too bad
Yeah.
then. Like all of that stuff hadn't filtered down from Iran, and they had not figured it all out. You get IDF and mostly, ambushes every once in a while. There was a mosque down the street from Taji that we were at that would routinely shoot down Blackhawks. And so like every time it happened, they're like, all right, everybody get your stuff on. We're going down the street to fight these people. It was almost like a Tuesday. Like people would just go down there and we'd just be fine. There was a point where it got real mundane. It was just like, all right, we're gonna pop some shots at these guys. They're gonna shoot at us. Like maybe we kill a couple of them. Maybe we take a couple casualties. It's like, but it's like then it was the weirdest thing because contact would just end. The birds would come, contact would end, and it'd be like, all right, well, let's get back in and drive back to who's hungry. And so this is like I'm 21 when this is going on. So you got to think that when we joined, and I'll get into this later as far as like the mental health aspect of it, but we were children.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
and if you like, it's funny because I'll look at graduations, or I'll see pictures of guys coming through friends of ours that have their sons coming through RAS, and you look at him,
Yeah.
it's like, who let that child in there? Like, why is a small child doing this? And it's funny because then I look back at pictures, it's like, oh no, I was the small child.
I was a small
So
child.
I was like a $125, like carrying this saw that probably weighed, twice my amount at that point with full ammo and kit. Um, so got real lucky that deployment. We took a couple casualties, but basically like cut my teeth just fighting in the streets, just getting down with random people. And we were so big army, lots of daylight stuff. And it was like, hey, drive around until somebody decides to shoot at you and then shoot back at them. That
Right.
was our job. It was at the time it was fun. I didn't realize it, but like it was kind of like a big camp. Uh, some crazy stuff happened, but nothing, like I said, nothing real rough. So got back from that deployment. Loved deploying. I was in it to win it. And so immediately I was like, well, I kind of want to be closer to home. But I want to get down. I want to fight again. I want to go back over. So re-enlisted because I think I'd only done the 3-year contract at the time that they were offering. Like offering convicts that too. I'm pretty sure I was one of them. And so I was just like, oh yeah, I'll take another 4 year. Like, let's do it again. They were giving bonuses too. So I think I got like at, again, 21, 22-year-old me was just like, man, I got $10,000 to do this all over again. Like,
Right. Such a deal.
so, yeah, yeah. So in between my PCS from Kansas to Hood, uh, we had gone ahead and done, my brother had joined, and that's when he was just like, well, I'm going to be a Ranger. And I think like any other person in the Army, like when you hear about Ranger, you there? Oh, shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you hear
Yeah.
about
You kind of dropped
Ranger,
off for a minute.
yeah, yeah, sorry about that. But Henry had joined. He gave me a call and he said, I'm going to go be a Ranger. And like any other big Army dude, I was just like, you're going to fail. I'll see you and I'll try to help you where I can. Like, and so because they were greater than life. We sung songs about them in basic training. That's what you wanted to be as a Ranger. So,
Right.
um, I get deployed again 2006, 2007. So almost back to back at this point. Like I think I was 10 months outside of a deployment when I went right back in.
Oh,
And
wow.
these are long deployments. My first one was 14 months. This one now is like almost guaranteed to be 12 to 13. Um, so
Wow.
deployed, went over, ended up getting in with a bunch of good friends. And what I like to say about this part of it is when I found these guys, and at this point, this was the closest squad I'd ever been in. A guy named Sean Myers, James Dyer. Sean Myers was the squad leader. James Dyer was the other sister team leader as a Marine, and he was my roommate. And then we had somehow managed to cobble together within the big army like this great group of guys. So at this point, it's 4ID 166 infantry headed off to Rustamaya, and so this squad was they weren't as good as like when I got to the Rangers, they were the best I'd ever seen. This squad for what we were doing and the kind of training we had. Luckily, Sean took it very seriously. He fought in Fallujah, so he was like a big, like we got to train, we got to train, we got to train. So our squad trained constantly. So the impact of that was we did all the things. Went out, we were the ones fight. Like our squad was the one fighting. So that deployment was a little crazy. And Henry had actually I'd gotten word that Henry had made it through RIP at that point and
Yeah.
was onto 375. And so I was like, holy crap. I was like, all right, he's really doing it. At that time. I think the night after I had gotten the word that he had passed, we were at a cop. I forgot the designations, like 267, out in Rustamaya, and the cop had got overrun with us in it.
Oh,
And so
wow.
by the end of crazy, crazy night. I like telling this story because it's entertaining. So two of our guys from the squad, Pritchard and a guy named Matt Sprouse, sitting out on a balcony we're just out in the middle of the city, out in Indian country by ourselves, probably about 40 guys. They're sitting out and they're smoking on this deck, which big army guys love to smoke, man. They love it. And so they're sitting there smoking, and Matt said he looked up and he's like, that is a weird shooting star. And Pritchard looks up, is like, yeah, man, that's a big one. They keep watching the shooting star come down, come down, come down, and then it lands right in the smoke pit directly in the middle of them. It's a 60 millimeter mortar that did not go off,
No
but the six
way.
others that they fired did go off, starts hitting one side of our compound, collapses a couple walls. You start seeing the guns go off because we're getting returning fire. And the PKMs at that point are like, looks like a green laser light show.
Right.
And they're returning fire. The towers start returning fire. We're taking incoming fire. And through the course of the night, through the course of the fighting, I forgot one part. So these guys come running in because they should have been atomized on that balcony. They're running in. We're all trying to run out of the single door that leads to that balcony, and they're like, don't go out there. Don't go out there. And so we stop. We're like, why? Because everything's happening. We got guys stuck out on towers fighting. And they're like, there's a mortar sitting right next to the door. James Dyer, love him to death. This guy was the best man at my first wedding. He had flunked out of EOD school in the last week. And that's how he had ended up in the regular army. And so James is this guy is right now, his name's, if he ever watches this, it's Major Dyer now.
Oh, wow.
But he goes out there. He's like, I went to EOD school. And at that point, we're just like, whatever, man. Like,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, bro,
Like,
but you
we're already in a
failed.
we're already in a bad spot. So cool, whatever. He goes out there and he sandbags it off so that we can all pass through. And then
Right.
we take back off. We go down. Him and Sean, the Humvees are burning. They got AT4s in them. Him and Sean run down there. And like I said, Sean, James, some of the bravest guys I'd ever known outside of the regiment. It's funny because when I joined the regiment, or when I was talking about going to the regiment, I was just like, I asked them, I was like, hey, come with me. Like, let's go do this. Because they were about to fight. We were always in
Yeah.
firefights, always doing crazy stuff, like getting into the wildest of times at that point in time. Because like I said, it was a Wild West out there. So anyways, they end up getting I want to say they got Bronze Stars because they go into these Humvees that are burning. They are on fire because it had hit the fuel point. The fuel point had launched itself into the Humvees.
Oh, wow.
And just spread fuel JP8 all over the Humvees. So they're climbing through burning Humvees, grabbing AT4s, hucking them out so that they don't synthetic detonate into what was left of our compound. So the night ends up, we end up getting reinforcements. They show up, and it was funny because again, this is something else I write about. I'm standing on a wall at the end of this. Everything's burning around me. I'm covered in soot. There's magazines, bullets, like bullet shells laying everywhere, shells laying everywhere, and the brass is all over the place. And I look at Sean, and I look at him. We look back, and I was just like, that was one hell of a night. Like, and then I was like, we gotta go find a new home. And so we end up moving to another cop. So it's kind of one of the stories that my brother had gotten told that I'd gotten told that he had graduated RIP like 3 days prior. So he's in the regiment while I'm kind of finishing up this deployment. There was a couple things. We lost a couple guys over some stuff that shouldn't have happened. And I found myself walking in front of a $2 million piece of equipment, probably more. Remember the Buffaloes out in Iraq?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They had us walking a route in front of those. And I was just like, doesn't those stop the IEDs? They're like, yeah. I was like, why am I in this then? Why am I sitting in front of, why am I going to get blown up? And the answer was, you're cheaper. Like it is cheaper to pay your family than it is to replace that Buffalo back there. And that was my epiphany moment that I needed to get out of the big army. I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to get killed doing this.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
so the story is I'd called my brother on one of the calls. I'd been like, hey, and I think he had already gone on a deployment. And Lacerda was his team leader, his first team leader. So that
You
tells
said
you what kind of,
Lacerda?
yeah, Lacerda.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
he was sitting there and he's just like, I was like, I'm going to go to special forces selection. He was like, what do you want to go teach someone? And I was just like, what do you mean? Big Army me thinks special forces is completely different than what it actually is.
Right.
And
Right.
so I was like, yeah. And he was just like, no, man. He was just like, you want to do direct action, go kick in doors? It's like, sure. He's just like, okay. He's like, let me make a couple calls. I don't know what kind of connects he had as a private. He must have just been, it was Henry. Like,
Right.
I think there was a point where I figured that he knew everybody at that point, at one point. And all of a sudden, I think like a week later, I got an email from a recruiter being like, hey, I'll get you a RIP date. When do you want to go? And I set that
Wow.
thing up for like, I think I was back in country for like 3 months, maybe less. It was like 2 months. Like, and then I was off to RIP. Uh,
Wow.
So that brings me to going through or airborne school. So I did airborne school, RIP, CERT, 5 months of Ranger school. As a big army dude, not knowing anything, just like
Right.
I'm just here to party type thing. Make it through RIP, which was rough. Like I
Yeah.
thought I had done stuff. I think really probably the only thing that had like gotten me through RIP at that point was that I didn't want to walk in front of that buffalo ever again.
Yeah.
So like I was like, if I'm gonna die, it's gonna be for a better reason than I kicked some random piece of trash and that was it.
Right.
Uh, and so got through RIP. Was was probably one of the rougher things I did until I got to Ranger School. And then Ranger School wasn't hard on as it wasn't hard in the fact that it was like physically everybody gets broken down that first week.
Sure.
You go through that first week and it's you know everybody's ends up the same, kind of in the same condition. um I think it was mentally rough because I kept having like injuries, just because the gauntlet of things I was doing. So like I said, uh uh coming from RIP and then or airborne school, then RIP, then CERT, then and then Ranger school, like I was broken. I'm in year, 1.5 of going through selection at that point.
Right. My
um
gosh, man.
yeah, so and it was funny because I was listening to your previous cast or podcast about your story and about getting picked up. And it was funny. I was like, do they just, is that must have just been the thing that they did. So we get picked up. They do the whole thing where it's like, who doesn't want to be here? And you got the dudes that raise their hand because they don't want to be there, right?
Right.
And so they flip flop guys who do want to be there. They're like, what's your PT score? What's your PT score? I'm already in line, so I'm like, I'm in it to win it. We're headed down there. Same thing. It's August in Georgia.
Yeah.
And so
Terrible.
yeah. And so we go to the buses. They have us carry all our stuff to the buses. We get everything into the bus, and then we put our bags. They say, hey, they put your personal bags, keep your duffel bag. We're like, all right. So we think we're getting in this bus. We are not getting in this bus. We end up running with all of our gear and equipment out
No.
to the fence, like, and then they cut. So we had a large class. I want to say it was about 300 dudes. They end up cutting like, and if you came in like the end of it, they're like, hey, thanks for playing. You're done. There's worldwide right there. And
No
they
way.
start dudes and start taking them in there. So then we're taking things off now at the rock story is
Yep.
so we get there, they're doing our in processing and they're like duck walk. And so we're duck walking around our bags as they're bringing people into in process. So one dude just passes right out, just unconscious, face first, plants. Sergeant Brown, who was one of the rip cadre at that point, like walks over just like randomly, is just like, go get a medic, like super cold. Medic comes over, grabs it, like goes and like, and Brown's like, get his boots off. They cut his boots off, white socks. He's
Oh.
got white socks on. So here's this kid who's unconscious on the ground, and Brown's waving a foot at us, at the rest of us, duck walking. He's like, this is why y'all are dirtbags. This is why y'all are. The guy's unconscious, and he's waving
He's
his
holding the guy's
unconscious foot.
foot, waving the
Yeah,
guy's foot.
he's pointing at us with his foot. So this guy's unconscious. The guy's out. And so
Yeah.
he's like, take off all of your boots off. So
Game
everybody
over.
takes all their boots off. Other dudes have white socks on too. They're gone. But we're duck walking on the rocks, like at this point with our boots, like with no shoes on, just duck walking around. I was just like, so when you told your story, I was just like, I commiserate with what had happened there. So
Oh
but
man,
yeah.
that's wild. So, I
Uh
mean, you obviously make it through. You make it through RIP.
Yeah, so make it through RIP, going to CERT. Again, we had legends in CERT. Marquez was there, Phillips was there. Uh, and man, I'm trying to remember all the Shanneman, Shanimal the
Yep.
Manimal. Yep,
Yeah.
Shanneman was there. And that guy, one of the hardest dudes I'd ever met. Like, um, had he and this like getting more into our mental health stuff. Like this man was a giant to me,
Yep.
and I was a 20. He probably wasn't he was probably just as young as I was, maybe a little bit older. Um, Giant and just a great ranger. He had actually done something for me that to this day uh, I can't even believe that it happened. But so he had somebody had been my ex-wife. Somebody had been from CERT or RIP when I was in CERT had been messaging pictures to my wife at that point.
Oh.
He found out about it and he had found it. And this dude, he was like he had fought him. They got him out and they were just like, yeah, you're done. This guy's already in. Like, you don't ever do anything like that to these guys, to another ranger. Gets this guy bounced out. And it's funny because he brought him to, like, he brought me out of CERT, I was over at the Rock and he brought him in. He's like, if you want to hit him right now, that's fine. And like, I didn't, I was like, I don't want to get kicked out of here either. I was
Right.
upset, but like, man, you talk about a guy who lived the creed, and that was Shanman.
Wow.
So like
Man.
talking about
That's
giants.
yeah, dude. That's another one that sent shockwaves, man.
Oh
When
man,
we lost him.
just and I'll get into that a little bit later, but we ran into all these guys. All these guys, like everybody was there at that time. So all these names that you hear later on
Right.
uh, are all the guys that like we were growing up
Yeah.
around. Um, so getting back to it, get to Ranger School, graduate Ranger School, and then, like I said, told you the story about how we got dragged in. Bohannon, who later became Sergeant Major Bohannon, told us that
Right.
we didn't do anything special, and then Sergeant Major Merritt, the legend, walks in, congratulates everybody, and then tells me that we're leaving in like 72 hours. It's like, go enjoy your family for a little bit, and then you're headed off to meet your platoons. And it's like, so I did DECO 375, and I was in Bastion with 2 Delta Chandler's platoon, uh, and that was my first foray into the regiment, and it was a blast. It was every night we were
What
doing something.
what year was that? That
That
Bastion
so
deployment.
that was 2010, and that was when the British were making the push down there. So Camp
Yeah.
Leatherneck, and it was what was it? Not Marja. Man, trying to remember, but it's a real big. Like when I tell people I fought in that, they're like, "Holy crap, you fought in that?" I was like, I mean, I was with the regiment, and so we were going out at night and doing stuff. But that was when the British were making those pushes down. They made documentaries about that area. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was because all I remember was, you go in the strike force, and the only thing you remember is, especially as a team leader, is I'm at Camp Leatherneck, and we do we do ops all over the place.
Right.
Um, and so it's funny because first my first engagement with the regiment was on an operation that a lot of guys from 2 Delta remember because it was a big deal. It was a big deal. I'd never seen anything like it. And it was the first time where I'd realized the decision I made was the right one. Because like I said, we get in, we walk all the way there. We jump up to Puliso. First round bullies there, so like this is already probably going to be an out of control op. And we start taking fire from the rear of us, from a like small tree line. And the most vivid memory I have of it, Robert Tronnell and Rains, I thought were dead because they initiated with a recoilless rifle and right into that was the squad I was about to go to. And I saw the round, like I heard it, turned, and saw the round impact between them and just dust. And I was like, those 2 dudes are dead. Like I was just like, they're gone.
Yeah.
Luckily, it was an anti-tank round, and all it did was punch a hole right through the wall that they
Through
were
the
on.
ground.
Yeah, it just punched a hole in it. And these days, so the most remarkable thing I ever remember was watching everybody just jump off ladders wherever they were at, turn online, and everybody started shooting and walking in the same direction. Like,
Yeah.
and we were taking effective PKM fire. They were shooting, they were trying to kill us because, oh crap, like this just happened. And as soon as that happened, the platoon just split up and started chasing people, like just started going off. People started ranger butting around. I was with a guy named Haley, who was a gun team leader at the time, and me and him are together, and we're just going off, and we're fighting our stuff, our fight, and it was like I said, one of the most violent and remarkable things I'd ever seen in my life. I was just like,
Yeah.
out of the 2 deployments I had done, I'd never seen anything so choreographed, what looked choreographed.
Right.
Um, Great night running around. We're chasing people. We're shooting it out. One of the times where I was with Nick Melton, and I ran past Nick, and he was just like, Sauce. And I was just like, what's up, man? And he's just like, I need more magazines. I was just like, yeah, here, thank you. Like, nice thing. He's like, thanks. And just ran off into the darkness. And I was just like, cool, take it easy, man. It's like, I'll see you later.
Thanks,
Uh,
man.
so yeah, after that, I went through DECO, couple deployments. Ended up going to SNOT with like Chris Topher, Mike Pemberton, like all those guys. Those are my Ben
Legends,
Fraser.
man.
Yeah, all just fantastic guys. So ended up there with them for a while. Jumped back to from HHC to SECO. Did SECO. After I was in SECO, kind of started having some marital issues. So I asked for the break. The break pulled me to AMU. So I shot for with AMU for about 2 years. Did
Oh, no
international
kidding.
sniper.
I didn't know that,
Yeah,
man.
did international sniper competition. Was in ITG. Was a NCOIC of the M17. And then after that, life happens. Marriage fell apart. So I asked to come back to Fort Hood. At Fort Hood, I ended up a sniper section leader for a little bit, then a platoon sergeant. And then I joined 3rd SFAB at the end of my career as the senior intel advisor for Kurdistan, for all of Kurdistan.
Wow.
So that was my last bit of foray into um, that brought me to the end of my career. So I ended in as doing that as a Sergeant First Class. I'd made the list, but a lot of people don't know this. I actually medically retired. So I was involved in one of the ops in DECO. Me and Trommel had basically jumped off the back of this Chinook before it had landed because we were young. Uh, and so as we jumped off, it did something. The armor did something to my back, and then it kept going, kept going, kept going. So at some point in time in regiment, my L5 and S1 had been broken.
Oh.
And so I just kind of dealt with it. Well, I did Best Ranger in 2018 for 1st Cavalry Division. And when I did that, the second day I got carried off the field because I couldn't move anymore. And that's when they brought me into 4th RTB. And they were just like, hey, your back's broken, man. And I was just like, oh. I was about, gosh, 4 years from retirement, from getting to 20. So I was just like, hey, I just need you to get me to 20. So in comes the drugs, in comes the epidurals, the drugs, whatever I could do to get me to that 20. Ended up enjoying my job at SFAB, so I ended up doing 21. But by the end of my 23 deployment, I'd gotten into a car wreck in near Erbil, going out to one of the missions. And when I came back, they're just like, hey, you're done, man. That's it.
Wow.
So medically retired. That was kind of tough because I don't think I'd ever seen myself getting out. I thought
Yeah.
I was going to be, I thought I was going to be a first sergeant. I thought I was going to be, I was going to go on to do more. And that was a very big shock when it was having somebody come in and just tell you, I remember that day, just like, hey, I just need another epidural. And then the surgeon came in and was just like, do you want to walk when you're 60? And I was in, what kind of question is that? Like, who doesn't? Like, no,
Right.
I want to roll around this place with Hot Wheels. It's just like, and I was just like, and I kind of was real combative about that. And I was just like, yeah, why? And they were like, okay, you're done then. You can't do this anymore. Like you're finished.
Wow.
So went through that process of kind of realizing it. It was funny because again, listening to your podcast, the Army does not do a good job of it still to this day. The Rangers do.
Still,
The
wow.
Rangers have a 75th has a fantastic program. Rangers for Life. I hear so much good things about that in the way that they prep guys to come out. It used to
Really?
be that it was like once you said you were done, you were dead to everybody.
Yeah.
You were a dead
That's what
man.
that's
Uh,
what happened to me.
yeah, and I know so many guys who got out early but did well for themselves.
Yeah.
One of my privates is Cameron Tor. Cameron runs a knife business now that is like you can find his knives everywhere. Um, and he got out early, and that guy, he did very well for himself. So I
Yeah.
think one of the biggest things is that realizing that like as a ranger, you're geared to not quit. So success is kind of something that comes to you. Now that I think that is also a hindrance to us because when success doesn't come, and it is a little bit harder push than physical, it that's when we start getting real down on because we're hard on ourselves. We're
Yeah.
I should be better. I should do better. I should be, I should be. I'm elite. I'm ahead of the pack. And then when that doesn't come and it's hard, you go to real dark places. And I think this epidemic of hearing about another guy passing away, it seems like it's every month now, man. Like
Yeah.
every couple months we get a bad call, and so it's one of those things where it's like I think early success kind of hindered us later. We don't know how to fail, and when we do, we think that we're a used tool. What you get, and that was my thinking during my mental health thing is that I felt like I was a tool that was created for a purpose, and that purpose is gone.
Right.
Like I don't have that purpose. There's been times where so right after I got out, immediately started trying to look for a job, which was probably a mistake. I probably should have taken a little bit more of a knee. But found a job, wasn't contracting because by that time I'd gotten remarried, have kids, and the same thing. I'd already missed most of their lives. I didn't want to miss more.
Right.
Contracting sounds great until you realize that, hey, it's a lot of money, but it's going to be the same thing you did. You're going to be gone, and you're going to miss
Yeah.
these milestones. Uh, these things that your children are going through, you're not going to be there for it.
Yeah.
You're on a screen, like you're a
Right.
screen father to them. So I became a PM, project manager for a course through Three Rangers, through another great organization that I can't say enough about. So Three Rangers got me a job as a project manager. And I think I was driving one day and I realized I was like, I'm gonna get sideswiped by like a car one day, and I'm gonna have died for somebody's bottom line. And that's the only thing that they're gonna remember me for is that, the only thing that they're gonna miss is that the margins maybe I did. But they're
Right.
gonna replace me in 2 weeks, a week. I'll be replaced. So yeah, so I think when I started realizing that, I was just like, that sent me down a darker place where I was like, well, I don't have that. I don't have a mission, a purpose. Like I'm this rusting tool that is losing its sharpness. Um, and so I think, as I've been like, I'm only 7 months out now. Yeah, about 7 months. It was March 21. So again, I think when I think about it, I probably should have given myself a little bit more time to kind of take a knee and take it in. But you know how it is, family. you need money. You
Right.
need to, the wheel keeps turning.
Absolutely.
Bills still need to get paid. So, but yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell my story as far as like to now.
Yeah. Well, man, dude, we covered a lot of ground, but dude, I love some of the things that you said. Just this idea that we are such driven people and accomplishers, and we hard charge everything. And I love the way you put it, that when we don't get success, um, that we don't really know how to receive that, because
Yeah,
all we know is like we have this in our mind that we don't fail, we can't fail, and so when it doesn't come as fast as we want it to, it does put us in a negative headspace. So
yeah.
what, like, what did you, I know this is different for you because you weren't actually like planning for retirement and like getting ready to do it, so it was kind of taken from you. So in that short amount of time that you had, like, what were you expecting in the civilian world, and like what really took you by surprise?
Oh man. So first off, what I'd like to say is the Army does a terrible job of preparing you for any of that. The regular Army does a real because third SFAB wasn't. It's not. It's the highest point I think you can get in when you're in the regular Army. And oddly enough, a lot of Rangers coalesce there. There's a bunch of us there. Inge, it was there. He was Major Inge at that point. Me and him hung out all the time, and it's funny because you get Rangers who, once we see each other, we start gathering up, and we're like, man, this sucks. Like we kind of commiserate together a little bit. Um,
Right.
but I I started getting out, and at first it was exciting, just because I was just like, I can do X, Y, and Z. I can, go out and I can pursue other things. And then it really started to get dark because at that point I lived alone, and it started getting dark when I wasn't showing up and really doing anything, and
Yeah.
I was kind of left alone in my own devices. Um, I tried to get into some stuff. I got into jujitsu at the time because that's my back would allow it. And so I started doing that, and you know how Rangers do it. I think if you get into anything, you're going to get into it like almost to an unhealthy level. And so like
Yeah.
I was like fighting every day. I was pushing through injuries. I was like, oh, I'm gonna compete. I'm gonna do all this stuff. And I did it. But that's probably what was kind of holding me together. Otherwise, I was kind of left alone and very isolated at that point. I remember going to sleep and definitely having those thoughts of like what am I doing? What am I like now? Where am I at? I'm this broken thing. And that really got to be it where it was just like I'm this broken thing. I don't know if it was self-isolating as much as it was the support. And I know us as a community, we scream a lot about support and we say, hey, we're here for you. And you would get a lot of guys that would say, I'm here for you. But like, man, it's hard when you're in a dark spot to reach out, and then when you reach out and it's the usual platitudes of, hey, I'm here for you, I'll help you, I'll talk to you, but then everybody's got life going on, everybody's got things going on. So I when I was in that spot, I really poured myself into other things. Luckily, I'm not a big drinker, so it wasn't that bad, but I definitely poured myself into wandering. I did a lot of wandering, kind of driving midnight drives, just kind of trying to figure out where I fit in now. Um,
Yeah.
and it's it's a funny thing, and this is like me spitballing a lot of it, but when people say, "Oh, well, you're a father, you're a husband, you're a father, you have all these things," and it's just like, but I wasn't that. Like I was, but that wasn't what I was doing, and that wasn't my identity wasn't in that. It was ranger or
Right.
soldier, fighter, father, husband, son, that kind of thing. So
Right.
I think it's hard to go to people and pull them out of something like that when when their mindset is so changed, like their mindset, and this is going back to what I said, we were children.
Yeah.
Like we were, we were boys. Our brains had not fully developed. We weren't, uh, we weren't fully developed. Like, it's funny because I see pictures of guys when they were younger, and then I see them as like men, and it's like younger as in like when we were in regiment together, and then I see them as men later, and they're giants. They're huge, like
Right.
muscular. Like we look totally different. Our faces have
Right.
changed. Um,
Right.
and I think about that and the change in physical, and then the mental change is probably so much more that we did all this stuff at an early age, and this is what we learned. This is how we grew up. And then to all of a sudden say, like, for me, this was 21 years of my life. So at the end of it,
Yeah.
all of a sudden they say, "Hey, thanks for playing, but you need to go find something else to do." What is and was a very hard transition.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think I said this to Fliss when we talked. I can't even imagine for you guys that went on and did full careers. I did one enlistment, man, like
Yeah.
one enlistment, and then I contracted for an enlistment worth. So 8 years total. Surrounded by the war. I can't imagine doing 21 and how that would affect the transition.
It's funny you say that because even the guys that did small enlistments, you think about what you went through. Think about the think about the selections. Think about
Yeah.
like what they said. So when I came through, they made us read On Killing. Um, Great book,
Yep.
but it was about changing a mindset. So you got to think about what kind of indoctrination came with that was like the constant songs about being a ranger. What were we when ranger? We were airborne rangers, right?
Right.
The They sung songs about us, and it was what everybody wanted to do. And all of a sudden, you're that thing. You remember Smith?
Jeremy Smith.
Jeremy Smith.
I do. Yeah.
Do you remember? So, do you remember his speeches?
Yes, that dude
So,
was
oh my god,
highly motivational.
I would tell people this all the time, but he could make you feel like a god. Like
Yeah.
he could come in and speak like the way he spoke to you. I remember he walked out and he was like, "Men, men." He was like, "When you earn this tan beret, you will be a god." Like, and so when I get into that, is it like, how old were we when we did that? When Jeremy Smith was giving those speeches, how old were you?
When I got there, okay, so new information. So Jeremy Smith was a squad leader in second platoon when I got there. So, dude, we were shoulder to shoulder, man.
Yeah,
Or we worked really closely together. So I was 20 when I got there.
yeah, yeah. Again, you were a kid, and so he was
Yeah.
literally changing your perception on everything. He was molding you into what we needed.
Yeah.
And so on killing, that's kind of what the big like point of the book was, is that so in Vietnam they had a lot of people, we were shooting at bullseyes, and the reason I know this is because I taught a lot of lethality in AMU. We were
Right.
shooting at bullseyes. Why
Yep.
were we shooting at bullseyes? Well, because that's a good marker of like marksmanship. Is it a good marker of combat skills though? So in Vietnam, we were finding out that people were shooting around people because they weren't used to shooting at people.
Right.
So we ended up changing that up where we got silhouettes, and we got sacrilegious. We put silhouettes on there, and then we started shooting in silhouettes. Well, what did it make it easy to do then? Shoot at a person, because that's all I've
Yep.
ever shot at. So you think about like the amount of change that they put into changing you as a
Yes.
person. And then, like you said, even those small enlistments, you were changed. I almost think it was
Oh,
even
dude.
worse for you, because at least for me and Fliss and the guys that went the full 21, we we could live in that. We lived in it. It didn't change
Yeah.
for us. It wasn't a massive change until the end, but And at least at the end, it was like a, hey, thanks for your service type thing. Man, you guys that got out, it was almost unceremonious. It was just like, thanks for playing, quitter, and then off you
Dude.
go. Like,
Um, dude, I got an email that last deployment into crit, and they like I had been talking with the reenlistment guy, and and the chain of command knew about it, like my platoon sergeant knew about it. And anyway, I get an email like halfway through the deployment asking if I had decided to reenlist, and I had made up my mind at that point, and I said no, I'm not going to. I'm going to get out. Dude, I never heard from him again.
yeah.
Like, never heard from him again. And that was it. And like, seriously, dude, I came home from that deployment, and 30 days later I was out. Like, I did it in 30 days. And we got home. Yeah, like we got home, and 2 weeks later everybody left and went TDY. And so I was alone, like literally alone. Like the AOs were empty because all of HHC was TDY somewhere. And I was just
Yeah.
like roaming the halls. Like,
Yeah.
I did
So,
not use that time to acquire anything, just so you know.
yeah. Like, yeah, like nobody does. Man, yeah, I think back about it, man, I should have taken more stuff. Like, um, but, so yeah, so I think when I got out, that was the hard part about the transition is what now? What am I now? Who am I now?
Yeah.
It's like, this is, man, like my young adulthood, me being a man, all I've never known is that 21 years. Cause I was a boy when I left. A man when I came, like 21 years later, beat up, broken. And the Army does a real bad job right now of preparing guys for it. The regiment doesn't. The regiment does a great job of it. And man, if we could tap into more of that if we could tap into more of that as just a Army-wide organization, I think we'd start having less issues. Um, I think for Rangers, the issues are different.
Yeah.
I really do. I think, so, in my head, I have a list of compiled guys that have passed lately. Nick, I talk about Nick Melton all the time. Not a lot of people know about like what happened to Nick. He like, I guess one of the hardest things that I deal with now is up until the end, me and Nick talked a lot. He was having a lot of problems, and I think the family problems, the not being what Nick used to be, because he was in RTB at that point. He was about to be a first sergeant, and I think it got to him. I think it really did, and so he passed. I want to say it's 2 years ago now. I couldn't bring myself to go to his funeral because it was
Wow.
rough on me because I still have messages on my phone. He's calling saying, "Hey man, what are you up to?" It became a point where he was so deep in it and it was so bad, and you can only say go get help so many times before it almost falls. And then I was in my depression, in my journey, because I was around the time I was starting to figure out that my back was really as bad as I thought it was. And I had been going through a divorce, and I was going through that whole mess. In my depression and darkness, it's like two drowning people. Like that's
Right.
what I
Right.
assume we were, is two drowning men. So when I heard he had passed, it killed me. Cause Nick he was there when I first got in, and then throughout my career, he had been hanging out. Nick Mountain stories are some of my favorite stories.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think as Rangers, it's a little bit different. Like Nick was a powerhouse. Everybody knew Nick. As much trouble as he got into, he was a great Ranger. He was a good fighter. Kapacheski, man, the dude who wrote a book on mental resilience. didn't make it. So I think
Yeah.
when I heard that, I was like, what hope do we have? Like,
Right.
Jesus, this dude lost his leg, came back and kept fighting, got through, wrote a book. And then at the end, whatever it is that gets us got him.
Yeah.
Rod from
Dude.
Beagle.
Yep.
I can go through and I can just start naming names, and it's sad. It's really rough to kind of watch all this happen, to know what we all went through, and then watch this all happen.
Right.
So, but yeah, I don't know I don't know what the fix is either for us.
Yeah.
Because again, you craft a tool to do something, and then that thing's gone. So then the disservice, I think, on their part, on not our part, but the disservice on the military is putting us out and not really worrying about what happened to us afterwards. Like, everybody says veteran suicide's a thing, but like it's almost after the fact.
Right.
So, that's just my 6 months out take on it.
Dude, no, this is great, man. I love hearing it because, we got to hear, First Sergeant Fliss's take on it, and he's been out a couple of years now. But dude, this is fresh and raw, and it's good information to put it out there that, hey, the Army's doing a crappy job at helping guys get out. And so, and I think what you were saying about the Ranger Regiment's doing a good job of helping guys get out and like kind of helping set them up for success. I think eventually, um, that stuff will trickle down, because that's that's one of the, I can't remember. That's one of the things of the Ranger Regiment, right? Like it's supposed to trickle down to the big Army, and it's supposed to be trained that way to the big Army. So eventually to make its way out. But the thought that I keep coming back to is that the point that you made, they spent so much time like honing you and making you and warping, like, I don't want to say warping, but like shaping your mind to do the job and to do this task and to be excellent at it. And they spend all this time doing that and building this identity, this persona, so that when you go and do the thing, like you said, you're shooting at silhouettes. Like, so when you go and are in combat, it doesn't feel like it because that's the way you've trained. Like, you've trained so much to that point that just feels like another Tuesday.
Yeah.
And so when you get out, they do nothing. They spend no time deprogramming any of that, or like helping you become a normal person again, or helping you wrap your mind around the fact that, hey, this is going away, and now you have to find a new place or a new purpose. And dude, that's why you and I are doing what we're doing. Like, this is why Brothers Compass exists, because I'm trying to create that program of, hey, because the answer, dude, I think the answer is this: you hold the answer within you. Like, I can't do the work for you, and no one could do the work for Melton. No one could do the work for Dave Steinbach. No one could do the work for anyone that we've lost. Like, the guys have to sit alone with themselves and do what you're doing, like writing, and start penciling, put pen to paper and go, okay, let's go on this deep soul search of what makes me tick. Like, who am I? What are my morals and values? And who am I without the Ranger title? Who am I without the rank of Sergeant First Class? Who am I without that stuff?
Yeah.
And dude, the issue is, again, going back to what we talked about in the beginning, is we expect to just be able to apply ourselves and tackle something quickly and like just gain victory, real quickly. But the mental health thing, dude, that's a slow process. And it's like you learn a little bit and you apply it, and then you learn a little bit more and you apply it, and you just have to, you got to choose every day to do this stuff. You got to choose every single day to show up for yourself and put the work in. And that's a crappy answer. Like, no one wants to hear that answer.
Oh,
That
it's for us, it's a it's almost a losing proposition. I hate saying that, but just, and again,
Right.
this is me coming out of my time and still kind of trying to figure my way out. The the losing proposition of it is that, and I hate to say it, and I had a conversation with another ranger the other day. There's no changing this. There's no changing us. This is
Mm,
when it well, I wouldn't want to say warped, but we were purposed for something that needed to be done. You got to think that, like, mentally, you had to prepare somebody, and that's why you pick up kids to do this. But
yep.
mentally, we had to be prepared to do some terrible things,
Yeah.
to see the worst and still be able to walk through those fires with clear eyes. We had to
Right.
be prepared. We had to be made to do that, and that's why you have the selections. I got to figure out if you can do this. Like, selection, like A&S for us was, can you do this? Can you mentally bring yourself to do all of this? And
Right.
the so that much conditioning, we're never going to lose that. We're never going to get rid of that. That's never going to
Right.
be, that won't ever be a part of that. We won't ever fix that.
Right.
Um,
Right.
the I think where we are failing is, uh, so one, as an organization, and I know I'm going to get some blowback for this, but as an organization, like, let's look at the SEALs. Like, let's look at other special operations groups. SEALs. Like, man, I hate me some SEALs. Not hate. I don't like. I'm not a big fan of them. But have you ever seen a poor SEAL? Have you ever seen a? I mean, I'm sure they're out there, but have you ever seen a SEAL that you haven't heard didn't have a chance at a really nice job somewhere doing something? You got like Sean Ryan, JD Shipley, like all these DevGru guys. You got all these guys, and they take care of their own. They get their guys jobs.
Yeah.
Hey brother, I'm going to find you something. They do a very good job of putting themselves out and networking within their community. We are
Right.
we have organizations that are getting better at it. We have 3 Rangers. We have uh, you know, the Ranger Association. Three Rangers is one of the biggest ones I know of. Um, we have organizations that are starting to get the point, and we're starting to put networks together. But we are woefully behind the curve. And for what I think we did, we like to we play the silent professionals really well. And
Right.
I think there's a point where that is a good thing, but we do need to start networking better within our community and keeping up with each other and saying, hey, okay, cool, you're having an issue, like, let's go find a real solution, not these platitudes of, I'm here for you, brother. Cool, man,
Right.
you're here for me, but you're in Georgia still, or you're in California. Like, you're not going to do anything when I'm having that problem. You're not going to do anything for me here. Like, I'm going to be
Yeah.
sitting,
Yeah.
I'm still going to sit on that couch in the dark with a gun. Like, and then if I can fight those demons that night, is whether I live or die. And I'm not going to call you, because that's not how it is. Like, we all know.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. You're
so
right.
I think networking, putting together, like, I'm in Dallas right now. I think Austin and San Antonio have a pretty good, they have meetups and stuff like that. It would be my goal soon to start getting guys met up with, and then start getting hooked up with companies, getting them hooked up with
Yeah.
network. We have I've just started counseling with a car monger. He was a 375 Ranger in Desert Storm, went and got his psychology degree.
Nice.
He's a psychologist now, or a therapist now, for Redefy. And we need more guys like that.
Yep.
We need more guys. And all he did was tell me, I got referred to him and said, hey, I'm having a hard time. And he was just like, let me get you on my schedule, fill this stuff out, no cost. So no VA, because VA,
Wow.
man, like
That's a nightmare.
if I talk about my inner child one more time to a VA BH guy, I'm a scream, because
Right.
that, like, there's a real good chance, and this is from the Rangers I know, we didn't have bad childhoods. We had decent upbringings. We had good
Yeah.
parents. I mean, you got your guys that didn't, but like for the most part, we were fine up until. So
Right.
the I think that's one is that as a group we need to start doing a little bit better. Uh, Secondly, I think we need to go ahead and start realizing that I like to call it PTS. Disorder is kind of a shitty thing to say, but PTS, we have it because
Yeah.
if you look at the DSM-5, all it is a change in a behavior. Something happened to you, something traumatic happened to you, and it is a change in your behavior from what you were, and it changed your outlook and your emotional intake on certain things.
Right.
I could make a very, and I'm not saying it, but I can make a very good argument that going through basic training gave me PTSD. Like I can see that. I know a bunch of people hate it, but like I eat at an exceptionally high rate now because of that. Like not high rate as
Sure.
in like I eat a bunch of stuff as a fat sauce. I probably do a little, but um, I I eat fast. We probably all eat fast. You're probably done with your dinner before most of the people like finished sitting down and getting ready, and you're just like, yeah, I'm finished already. I'm finished.
Yeah.
Army did that to you. Probably, most likely, Army did that to you, or Ranger School.
Right.
My love for pancakes, blueberry pancakes. I love blueberry
Oh,
pancakes.
yes.
Mountains did that to me. I hated it until then.
Yes.
So,
Until mountains.
so I think that we also, as a community, need to go ahead and say collectively together, say that we have this. If you went to the
Yes.
GWAT, you have it. Like, just
Dude, I could not agree more with you on that.
you're not Superman. I mean, you are Superman in a sense, but this this did something to you and it changed you. And
Right.
we need to go ahead and say, yes, that happened.
Right.
So
Well, dude, and the guys that fight that idea that you have PTSD or PTS, the guys that fight that are the ones that are clinging to that ranger mentality, going, I'm too tough to have that. That's
yeah.
not real, And I think you're exactly right, man. I think you're exactly right.
So but yeah, I think as far as my journey to and I'm not afraid to tell them. I know a bunch of guys we know are going to see this. Is like I'm still in it. I'm still
Sure.
dating. Like I'm unsure of what I want to do. I hate my PM job, so I'm moving into. I'm trying to move into something that gives me purpose. With the skills that I've been given from the military, and I think that's kind of the hardest thing too. Is that you got some guys that are ready to put it down, and then I think we go into contracting because we are not ready to put it down.
Yeah.
We don't see ourselves without that, that proverbial cape. Like
Right.
this
Right.
is us. And so just letting everybody know too is like I'm still in it. I still have my problems. Um, my my emotional my emotions can be up and down every day.
Sure.
I think one of the biggest things is I work out a ton still. I do. Even with my back right now, I'm kind of having some nerve issues on one side, but I compete in jujitsu. I went to Vegas, competed, and that itself has done wonders for me as far as kind of keeping me grounded.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like I said, I feel you in every once in a while about like it's like, man, I know I'm not okay, and just to say that is at least I can acknowledge it, and then we can move forward
Absolutely.
from that. We can move forward into that conversation.
Yeah. You're way ahead of the game just by being able to admit that. Like, hey, I'm not okay. And that doesn't mean that there's weakness. That doesn't mean that, that there's any issue with that. It just means you're not okay and you can address it. Now we can talk. Like just getting to that vulnerable space
Yeah,
of admission is huge. And kind of to your point earlier, there are things that we were conditioned to do, like you were saying, and a lot of those things will never go away. Just like you said, um, because I've done my best to become normal and like put it down. I've tried really, really hard actually, but in doing that and trying to go like the polar opposite direction and really put it all away and put it down, dude, I found that I miss so much of it. Like,
Yeah,
dude, I love guns and I love shooting. And like, why would I put that away when that's just a part of me?
yeah,
Um, and so this is what I'm learning in my journey as well, that dude, um I still pick a corner when I come into a room. I still walk down one side of the hallway, like
yeah,
there's there's things that just will never go away just because they're just burned in.
yeah. I think, and like I said, if we're honest with ourselves, that stuff never leaves us. Like I'm sure you've had them. I know people listening to your podcast are probably going to uh, really resonate with this. I still have dreams of being on the back ramp. Everything's
Yeah.
green. I'm on the back ramp. I'm kitted up. I'm sitting there, messing around with my radio, trying to make sure that well, one of the biggest things is my if I had a antenna rerouter, I was always trying to make sure that it wasn't broken, and I'd play with it all the time, and that would break it. But I would play with it all the time because I was deathly afraid that that thing was gonna break, and so then I wouldn't be able to I'd be like, "I'm not gonna be able to make any radio calls." Then people are gonna think I'm a dirtbag because I can't make a radio call.
Right, right.
And so, but those are still in my dreams, and I can still feel my hand on that stuff. I can still feel the rifle. I still smell the JP8 on the back of Chinook.
Yeah.
Like I wake up and I'm like, there's two thoughts to it. And it's always, I miss it. I
Yeah.
miss that. And then the realization that, and I think that's the real PTSD, the realization that we're never going to do that again.
Yeah. That
I'm
I
never going to be on the back of that Chinook. I'm never going
Yes.
to be doing the deco bum rush on a 300-meter target, like on an X landing, like in the
Right.
middle of the night, uh, with those amazing guys that I was with. I'm
Yeah.
never gonna sit in that team room again. Um,
Yeah.
I'm never gonna play Call of Duty Zombies in full kit, waiting for the word if air is green. Like you're, that's I think the real thing that we suffer with.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna be that again. Um,
That's the hard one, dude.
yeah,
That's really hard. And I haven't thought of it in that way, of that being the hardest part. But dude, that's very valid. Um, because it is difficult of coming to that realization that, man, I used to be this, and I was tip of the spear, and I was doing things that people dream about, or things that people only see in movies. I was doing those things, and now I'll never get to do it again.
yeah,
Like, so it's, how do we shift our minds from sadness to gratefulness that we got to do it, you know?
and I think and again, I'm still in the journey. I know John. I love me some John Bliss. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
I know we're all kind of in a different place depending on how well you prepared yourself to get out. And some of us didn't do well. Some of us did. Um, I think I would count me as one of the ones. So uh, I didn't get to the end of John's podcast, but it's always good to hear both sides, hear the guys that did, and I would count myself as one of the guys that's still just on the struggle bus for this. It's a it's a struggle every day. Um, and that's, I think it's such a cliche to say purpose. People like purpose. You got to find purpose. You got to find purpose. It's true, you do. But I think part of that purpose is being true to yourself. Are you really going to be happy being in that cubicle?
Right. Absolutely, man.
are you really going to be happy with that, job at Goldman Sachs? Are you really going to be are you really going to be happy going to school? And once you go to school and get that degree, then what? What's next after that?
Right.
What are you going to do?
Yep.
Um, and so I think there's two ways you can go about it. Is you can either you put the sword down and you never pick it back up and you never think about it. And there's people who do it, and man,
Yep.
I think they are monsters as far as mental being mentally strong enough to do that. And then you got the other guys and the ones in the middle that aren't going to do that. But I think when they say find purpose, that is real. You really gotta search it out, but you can't be lackadaisical about it. I was lackadaisical about it. I was just like, whatever job gets me some money so that I can do this. I was after, like, I have a family, I have kids, I need money.
Right.
Um, it has taken me,
Sure.
it has taken me this long to realize that there's ways that I can put my skills to use, and it's hard to find. Um, and I think that's part of my purpose now is to not make it hard to find for our guys. Um, it's, and can I go ahead and talk about it? Is that okay?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I was gonna say, just so tell me what you're doing now, like how you're.
So
So you've journeyed through kind of lack of purpose and discovering, I needed a job just for money, but now you're trying to really apply your purpose to life. So yeah, tell me what you found and how that came about and what it is.
yeah, so really a crazy story, and I know this is a Christian podcast. I'm a Christian. Myself, I'm like a Christian light. I'm like some of the Muslims we met over there, where there's like, when Allah's not looking, I'd consider myself the same way, where I'm just like, I'm a Christian. I got to get better about it. But what's funny is every once in a while I see God's hand in some things. So uh, little story, the other, like, in my kind of sadness and my dark places, me and my wife get into an argument. We get in this argument and it's over something stupid. It's I have this old 2009 Jeep that I used to roll around in battalion with all the time. Well, I still have it, and the thing's launching parts off of it like it's going out of style. And so there's one of the days where the starter just blew up. We're down to one car, and I'm like, I'll get it fixed. So I jump on my motorcycle, ordering this part from AutoZone, and the fight just kind of rubbed me wrong. I said some things, she said some things, and I was just like, man, I was like, I'm gonna go get a beer. I need a beer. There's a place up the street that has a great beer. It's called Union Bear. It's great. So go in, having this beer, and just alone, I probably look like the angriest munchkin on the planet sitting there. I had long hair, my beard's just disheveled. And so I'm sitting there just drinking, and I think I'm like 2 or 3 in, and this guy walks up behind me and is just like, "Hey," he's like, "You look like Wolverine." And I think I told you the story where I was like, "That's a weird way to hit on a guy, but okay." Like, and so he kind of goes into the apologetic. He's just like, "Oh no," he's like, "I noticed you sitting here," and stuff like that. Well, he noticed some of my tattoos, asked if I was a veteran. I kind of don't like, I get it. I have the tattoos that say it. I kind of don't like advertise it. It's like, yeah, I did some stuff and went some places. Um, so he starts telling me kind of about his name's Matthew Easter, and he's great Christian, has the Lord has spoken onto his heart that he has a mission. And this is, if I can say anything, it is that he is following through every bit. So he's actually the president of a company called Allegiance, and the Allegiance Project is a nonprofit organization that takes veterans, and we get them in. We get them into personal executive protection work. So in Texas, you have to have a level 2 or 3, 2, 3, and 4 to carry. But he's taking these veterans and doing it. But it's not just that. The mission is to partner schools and communities with these veterans for affordable solution for safety for the school, and not only for the schools but for the churches. We're real big into pulling churches. So we've had this rash of school shootings, had a rash of church shootings,
Yep.
and very sad. His mission is, and his thought process was, we have this abundance of men who have come from these dark places, done these dark things, and understand again how to walk clearly in these fires, in these trying times. They have clear eyes for this. again, being a ranger, what did we do? We went into bad places and we solved problems. So, big thing that we're into is now taking these guys, giving them a purpose that they don't have to put down the gun, but giving them a better purpose. Hey, we're going to get you into protecting schools. We're going to get you into protecting churches, and taking the skills that these guys learned in combat and applying them there. So what I love about this idea is that, and this speaks to us in general as a community, is I'm going to take a guy who has already been validated, has already been vetted. I know exactly what if I have a ranger, I know exactly what he's going to do when he gets shot at. What's he going to do?
Yeah.
He's going to close with and destroy no matter what. If you look at Uvalde, some of these schools, I'm not faulting the police officers for this, but there was a moment of hesitation, as anybody who's never been vetted like that should have that. Do I really want to do this? Where the rubber meets the road. Am I willing to die for this right now? Am I willing to have my life end so that others may live? With us, the veteran community, I think I would dare to say with the veteran community, but especially the soft community, we made that decision a long time ago. So that's
Yeah.
a Tuesday. So our mission is to take these vets, guys getting out, guys struggling to find this A community, B mission, and give them that mission. So it is a nonprofit
Love that.
organization paired with a security firm, and that's what we do. We're pairing schools up. We have schools mostly in DFW, private Christian colleges. We got private schools, trying to break more into more of the public schools, but give them a affordable solution for top tier protection. Where that comes in for us is I'd really like to start getting rangers out here to Dallas, to DFW, and offering that job to them, being like, hey,
Yeah.
this is like, I get it. You're trying to find a place where you belong. You're even trying to find if this is eventually what you want to do. This is what I hope would be a stopping point for people to take a knee. Figure it out. Do you want it? I can get you. I want to get all of your VA stuff handled. You can do that too. But I also want to get you a paycheck so that you're not having to worry about that, and then figure it out. If you want to go be that Goldman Sachs guy, if you want to go to school, if you want to do whatever it is you want to do, that you have a purpose in the meantime, or maybe that becomes your purpose for good. So, like our leadership is mostly, we got a couple U.S. Secret Service agents, ex-U.S. Secret Service agents. We got special operations combat veterans. Right now I'm the director of operations. So I'll be running kind of the day-to-day operations for guys coming in. What that means is that what I like about this is skill bridge and getting out to the regiment, maybe getting paired with like organizations like that, Three Ranger, stuff like that, where I can go out to regiment and I can be like, who's coming to Texas? People
Right.
raise their hands. And we got a lot of Texas Rangers, no pun intended. We got a lot of Texas Rangers out there, and I want to say, who wants to come down here? I don't have to do a lot of vetting for you. I don't have to do anything.
Right.
For and
Yeah.
for
You already know
skill
what you're
bridge,
getting.
yeah, and for skill bridge, what we like to offer is a place to do what you've just been doing. We're going to work out. We're going to do hand to hand, and we're going to go out to the range and we're going to shoot. And then we're going to teach you how to re-blue you from violence solves every single thing to maybe there's a little bit of discernment. Do I need to make this shot? Do I need to do? But also give you a skill that you can move on to. So, and the hope would be that even if these guys move on, hey, Sauce, I need a little extra money. Cool. Let me get you on the schedule. I got a church here. Needs a soft guy on campus. You're it. I'll get you a little bit extra cash for you just when they need it. So it's offering purpose, brotherhood, that little bit of help, and a place to take a knee so that they can move on to the next mission. So that's really what I've kind of been slowly getting involved in. Like I said, from that meeting at the bar where I feel like God had a hand in it, he put me in a position, and they kind of were like, we need someone like you. Um, so now transitioning from most likely um, transitioning from this project manager job to this job where it's giving me a purpose of bringing guys to purpose,
Yeah.
giving them more of a purpose than you're going to go sit in a cubicle like that.
Right.
That didn't
Yes.
work for me. It's probably not going to work for them.
Yeah.
Um, and
Dude,
if it
that's
does,
the cube.
what I was going to say is that if it does work for them, maybe the transition needs to be a little bit less hectic. Let yourself
Right.
decide that now it's time to put this gun down, like you did with contracting. I'm going to make that decision. I'm going to put this down now. I'm done.
Yeah.
But letting them have that over time, not just crushing them with, hey, you need to make this decision in the next like 3 to 6 months. And then after that, you're done. Like you're on your own.
Right.
So, really that's, kind of the big thing that I'm into right now. And that's my mission.
Man, I love that, man. And it kind of goes along with what I said in the last podcast was that, dude, we find purpose for ourselves in helping others find purpose for their lives. Like it helps us so much personally to be of service to somebody else
Yes.
because you're just that type of person already. Like you're a 1%er already because you went and served and you signed the dotted line. Like you wanted to serve something greater than yourself. And I don't think that desire ever goes away. And so here you are getting to do that again. Like you're serving something greater than you, but you're also pulling other guys into it going, hey, um, I can help you, at least give you a place to land for a while. If this is it for you, great. If it's not, you're always welcome here.
Yeah.
Um, okay, that's allianceproject.com.
So it's allegianceproject.org.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Allegianceproject.org.
And then
Oh, because there's two sides to the company.
there is. So .org is our is the nonprofit, which is what hiring the veterans
Oh,
is.
I see it now.
We're hiring the veterans for the EP for the allegianceproject.com, which is the actual company. So really what we're trying to do is get the people that want to help out veterans, but also protect their children, protect their children in schools, protect their churches. We have an avenue of getting people that stuff so they can donate. They can. We're going to be doing stuff like holding events with other organizations, so that everybody like paying for personal protection for your schools and churches is a lot. There's a lot of
Yeah,
stuff that comes with that. We're trying to make it a community-based thing. Community helps out
love
with
it.
if it's the Christian community, um, really a lot of the Christian community, but any churches and stuff like that, we're trying to make it affordable for them to hire top tier protection. The big thing too is that it's the veterans. Like it's funny, uh, we've all made this connection in our head just as veterans. It's like, why aren't we hiring guys to come out? You hear it on the news, you hear it everywhere else. It's like,
Right.
why aren't we hiring veterans to go and do this? Well, at allegianceproject.org and allegianceproject.com, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And like I said, my dream as the operational director of operations is to pipeline in special operations rangers, give them a place to land so that when they figure it out, they can move on to the next mission. But we're giving them a good mission right now, something
Right.
something worth fighting for. Uh, so like I know when I'm doing the plugs and everything, I got a little bit of facts, but there's actually HB3 is a House bill that requires armed security for every school. And about every school gets about 15K per school. A lot of them struggle to find the law enforcement officers because law enforcement's just taxed as is. They do the ISD departments, but the ISD have shortages. And also, too, like if you see some of these guys, we had this conversation on the phone the other day. Some of these guys aren't who you would want protecting your children or your wife and kids while you're in
Right.
while you're in church and in that place. You wouldn't want them protecting you. And not to say that their volunteering is misgiven, but just like selection, there's some people that do it and there's some people that don't. Um,
Right.
and like I said, our goal is to bring the guys that do it, like the guys that are going to react to that, the guys that are immediately going to start giving first aid, the guys that are going to put themselves in between the bad guy and your family or your kids. So,
Right.
so I know that's kind of a big plug, but that's on my heart and in my heart, and uh, God has put me in that position to go ahead and start making these call outs, making sure that I'm bringing A to my community and B to my brothers, like having a purpose, serving my brothers in this way.
Yeah.
So
Man, I absolutely love that, brother. And I was just looking at the website as you were talking. Um, so if someone was interested in getting involved, like if a ranger is hearing this, or a soft guy is hearing this, how does he get involved in this? Does he just click contact us, or reach out to you directly?
So for me, and any of your listeners that are Rangers, you guys they can contact me directly. And I don't know if I need to put it out here, or if I can give it to you, and anybody who contacts you says, "Hey, can you give me the name of that guy?" I'll give them my personal phone number. They can call me, and they
Okay.
can, I'll start working their packets right away,
Yeah.
especially any Rangers, any real soft guys, really anybody who's listening to this who is having a veteran who is having that issue, come talk to me. I'll talk to you, and we'll
Okay.
see where we can fit you in. For really everybody else, yeah, they can go on to apply. They can go to allegianceproject.com and they can apply there. And if you have listeners that are interested in our project is just as a nonprofit, and then getting us into the schools or any place of worship that they want, allegianceproject.org. And again, I can give them my personal email, a company email, so that they can contact me and we can start. I'm very passionate about this, and our team, our head shed is wildly passionate about this, where um, that is the mission. God has put a mission for us to protect. And so this is the job. We don't do a lot of we do some. We really don't concentrate on a lot of executive businesses, stuff like that. I think maybe in the future we might, but our core value is churches and schools, the children, and the most vulnerable places that we see a lot of these shootings happen.
Absolutely, man. And I don't think I can't imagine any place that would turn down an opportunity to be protected by America's elite.
Yeah,
Like that's a no brainer for anybody.
yeah, and that's, I think, when the president had his idea, it was just veterans, not just veterans, but he wanted veterans. We want to put, we honestly, we have a place for everybody. Um, for, but for Rangers, having soft guys there, I can't think of more. If somebody said, "Hey, I've got 3 Rangers that are sitting at your kid's school right now," perfect.
Yeah,
Like,
peace of
I don't,
mind.
I don't really need to. Yeah, I really don't need to worry about what's going to happen there. If something does happen, bad day for bad guy. Um, yeah,
Exactly
like
right.
it's like they've made a terrible mistake, because you literally have people who are chomping at the bit, who are having these dreams. Man, I wish I was running off a back of a ramp of a Chinook right now, and then dude comes up,
Yep.
pulls a gun, and he's like, "Cool, I have a great story to tell here at dinner." And I
Right.
think that's with the mindset of our guys. We run to danger, we fight. Why change that?
Yeah.
Why take that
Right.
from? So, yeah, I can't think of any, and I can't think of any churches or sanctuaries that wouldn't either. When you think
Right.
about it, like you want the professionals doing the work for you, and like we said, we already have these guys. Why do I need to go train somebody else? We have these guys in abundance, and they're sitting in these dark rooms waiting for any mission.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
they're
Absolutely right.
they're having issues because they don't have a mission. Let's give them that mission.
Right. Love
So yeah,
that, man. So one more time, that's allegianceproject.org. But to
yes.
apply, allegianceproject.com.
Yeah, allegiance-project.com. And then, like I said, if any of the listeners want to get in touch with me, guys, shoot an email out to Arlin, or even shoot an email out on allegianceproject.org. You'll find Louis, uh, Louis Saucedo. I think it's Louis at allegianceproject.com is my
Okay.
email. And they can absolutely contact me, and I will immediately start working on getting them into the program, getting them vetted, and then, like I said, getting you guys out on another mission.
Love it, man. I think that's a great mission, a great purpose. It's multifaceted for sure, but um, I love it. I can't say thanks enough, man. I really appreciate you doing this and being so open and honest about your journey and just what you're working on now. Like, it means a lot to me, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. And like anytime, uh, I remember the old days with everybody. Your face was a lot a lot cleaner. I think about it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and I'd like look at everybody, and I was like, like Fliss looks the same. Fliss looks the same.
Yeah.
But like it's funny because I run into a lot of guys now, and SHOT Show's coming up, and I'm going with Allegiance Project to SHOT Show. And if you've ever been to you may not have ever been to it, but there's more Rangers than you can shake a stick at there
Yeah.
uh, there at a SHOT Show. Me and my wife went there when we were dating. She took me there, and that was like in the first 2 months. And it was funny because she was just like, oh, she was just like, she kind of didn't realize how tight we are
Right.
until about every 30 seconds we were walking somewhere, and you'd hear fat sauce. And I'd be like, look over, and I'd be like, what? And then we did people hugging it out and talking.
I love it.
And we ended up with I don't know if I don't know if you know McManus, but we ended up with a wild night out with Eric Ennis and McManus uh, down at the Circle Bar one
Oh,
night.
no kidding, man. I was
Yeah,
Ennis and I
Eric's
were
always
privates
there.
together, man.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love Eric. Man, he's got another guy is just, you talk about vets killing it. Like he kills it
He's crushing it, man.
with his company. I think it's West Coast
Yeah.
West Canines. And
Yep.
man, they are like he had a dog there, and like I'm sitting there kind of like, because there's a bunch of like big names in the operator community and the special operations community that were at that bar. And I'm sitting there like, I'm like, holy crap, you know who that is? She did not care. She was just petting this dog that apparently never acted like this. And Eric was just like, this dog never does this. It's like, this is really weird. So,
That's awesome.
but yeah, the other thing, I guess the last point about it is Allegiance is also, my wife has been fantastic. She's real involved in this too. So like it is definitely like a family. It is starting to become a family run thing. So I think she's a federal firearms instructor. So she's also an instructor. So she's going to be giving courses for women who want to learn how to shoot, because it's not just going to be about protecting just those places, but really protecting yourselves. And I think we have a lot of issues with women not wanting to get on a gun. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
but yeah, I can't say more about this company and more about how it seems like it's saving me more than
Yeah.
it. At this point, I think I almost need it more than it needs me. So I think I'm going to give everything I can to bring more guys to that.
Yeah. Love that, man. I'm sure it's mutual, man. Like
Yeah.
they need you and you need them, and it's going to be a beautiful thing.
So yeah, man.
All right, brother. Well, shoot. Let's plan another one in like 6 months and just do like a check-in, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, man. Well, I really appreciate it, brother. That was episode 4. And thank you for listening. Again, if you need to apply for the job with Mr. Louis Saucedo, that's allegianceproject.org or allegianceproject.com. You can also message me on any of the socials, and I'll send you his phone number. So thanks for listening, and I will see you on the next one.